Good morning. It's a Wednesday. It's the mobile Monica version right here in Kirkwood. About a half hour ago, I posted a video telling you what we were going to be talking about today. It is a good one. We actually stepped outside in between sets this morning and a little muggy. So just a heads up, it's a little humid out there this morning. How's your day starting? I hope it's a great one. It's the Real Monica Adams mobile Monica version, and we are live in Kirkwood for you. Hope your day is starting off great. This is going to be a very interactive show today. So understand that if you're at home, I would love for you to grab your journal, a piece of paper, a pen right away, because I'm going to ask you to be as interactive as you possibly can this morning. If you're going to take this later and you watch it on replay, that's great. I will, of course, come on for you a little bit later and I will interact with you and comment on what your responses are. So here's what I want you to do, if you can for me. Share this. Let people know that we're on right now. Send them a text. Maybe call them if it's not too early for them to be waking up, or just shoot out on Facebook and hashtag relationships, relationship goals, relationship tips and tools, things you will not accept any longer. So we're talking about relationships. This is going to affect everyone. There's no one that shouldn't be able to interact with this in some facet. You do not have to be involved in a romantic relationship. I'm talking about relationships in business, in friendships, in parent, siblings, it doesn't matter, kids, all relationships, and thinking about what you've tolerated in the past. Okay, start thinking about that, because when I did the video about 20, 30 minutes ago, I asked the girls in between their sets, what have you allowed in relationships in the past that you swear, I've learned from this, I'll never let it happen again? We can go really, really deep. You can talk about trauma and abuse and addiction. It doesn't matter. Things that you allowed in the past that are not going to serve you. And that's the whole thing. If you're brand new to this show, understand that if you're just finding it, I think that's a God wink. That's what I always call it, that you were meant to listen to today's podcast, or someone turned you on to some of the ones we've done in the past, and you realize that this is going to serve you well. So mentally and physically and spiritually, think about what your relationships have done for you in the past. So we came on right on schedule this morning. We've got a busy hour for you. I'm also going to incorporate my friend Jeff Kozatek, Blueprint for Value, 52 habits to discover and strengthen your personal worth. So he talks about worth and value, your personal worth account. Like we think about, again, depleting an account, bank account. You don't want to do that. You want to continue to invest. And that's what the relationships are about as well, investing in yourself. We also have boosting your mood and training your mind and changing your life from Kristen Butler, the 3-Minute Positivity Journal. If you haven't been doing this, you don't have to buy the actual book. You could literally just copy and make these pages. So that talks about morning intentions, right? And evening reflections. So I've got it up long enough for you on the screen that you can see what you should be doing every day. You can just take a little snapshot of that and make that part of your life, right? Morning intentions. You just put the date on there, and then in the morning, there are different sayings. And if you feel like you need one, just reach out, go online, look for something inspirational, put that at the top of your page. Like this one says, to set your mind up for success. Be the kind of person who refuses to give up. That's actually from Joyce Meyer. Locally, Joyce Meyer. And then you do, I feel right now, or I want to feel. So we can think about relationships. So I'm actually going to start with this one where, what are you feeling in your relationship at this point? And I want you to think of several relationships. Your mind might right away go to thinking about your romantic relationship if you're in one, and understand that many people would say you're blessed to be in one. So you can think about any aspect, though, of a relationship. I feel right now. Now, here's what I want to feel, right? It's the transition of where you take it. How motivated have you been feeling lately? How motivated does your relationship make you feel? So when we get deep into this topic, I'm going to give you a few minutes to hop on, because again, we got on right on time, and I know there's been some issues back and forth where we haven't been on until about 5 after, 10 after. So I'm going to take a little bit for the numbers to come up and for you to get settled in. If you are getting ready to leave, understand that you don't have to listen to this later. All you have to do is put some headphones in, pop in your earbuds, or get in the car and make sure it's synced into your car. And then just like you listen to the radio, you can listen to the podcast while you're driving. And then, of course, I don't want you writing. You can just listen in, and then maybe later say, hey, my aha moment this morning that you talked about was this. So think about that. It's only 7:04. We're going to let you pop on. Let me give you some more of these daily affirmations. So start writing down what you are happy for, what you're excited for about your life. And again, when you fill these out, I want you to think about yourself first and foremost before you start thinking about the people around you, right? The circle that you're in, the friendships, the family that you surround yourself with. And then you do your priority goals. What are 3 priority goals for today? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, living right here and right now. What are 3 priority goals that you want to get done? And then a little self-care check. So think about your physical, your spiritual, your pampering, your emotional, social, household, personal, and mental self-care check. And then some thoughts and notes. And you do that in the morning as you're taking care of yourself. And then you do your evening reflections. So when you focus on the positive in the relationships that you're in right now, you feel better, you attract better, new doors open, you bring the opportunities that you seek. This is the power of positivity. And at the end of the evening, you're doing that gratitude check. But you can also think about doing the gratitude check with regards to how your relationships are. So you're very grateful to have gotten out of something from the past. Tonight, I am grateful for. And then you do the wellness check. So this morning, you're doing that self-care check before you kick your day off. And then you do your wellness check in the evening. You think, did I get my workout in? Did I do any meditation? How's my nutrition? How many waters did I get in? Did I do my, on the lower end, did you do eight ounces of water? Did you get 64 ounces in? Did you get out in nature? Did you have caffeine? If so, how much? And did you get your steps in? Or did you get your workout? Like the girls today did an incredible balance, core, biceps, shoulders, a lot of work that they got done in 45 minutes. And then you do that mental health check. So now in the morning you did, I feel, and then I want to feel, and then right now I feel, and how the day actually went. And you can choose more than one. They give you options of like, I feel happy or loving or hopeful for today, hopeful for yourself first and foremost, hopeful for things turning around for family and kids and your parents, grandparents, etc. Or are you calm? Are you angry? You don't want to go to bed angry, right? Are you overwhelmed? Is your mind just racing and you feel stressed out? Or are you at peace, peaceful and creative? Are you stressed? These are things you have to change around. Good morning, Barbara Legrado. Good morning, Linda Eckert. Good morning, Dana Dean. Rick, happy hump day. Have a great day as well, Rick. Bill, good morning. Sean, good morning. Michelle's up and Adam. Power of positivity. Yes. Kristen Butler. We're talking a little bit about her book. Do you feel proud for what you accomplished in the day? Are you tired? So go to bed. Stop staying up until all hours of the night. When your body wants to rest, let it rest. Scared, joyful. Speaking of that, my husband's like, Monica, get up and go lay down for a little bit. And so I did. I took a nap for an hour and 20 minutes yesterday. I'm just exhausted from running. The thing was, though, I was like, I can't sleep too long. You all feel like this? You take a nap, and then you take a nap too long, and you feel like you're not going to sleep at night because it's too close to the time you go to bed. I got up, it was like 6:30, 6:45, and I thought, I'm usually going to bed about 7:30 or 8:30 just to try to get enough sleep. Very different from the way the life used to be, right? I would stay up as long as I possibly could, push, and then get up at 1:30 in the morning. And that's not good for the body. So when you're trying to have that mental check at the end of the evening, it's starting to think, what have you done in the day to take care of yourself? First and foremost, you. And then write about a time when you felt courageous. That's tonight for you to do. Some wins for the day, right? Wins. Today you accomplished what? Good morning, Angie. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And then some thoughts and notes, right? So one more time, in case you want to copy that down, that's just today. And every one of these starts off a little bit different. But this is to help because there's a lot of people telling me it's not easy for me to do a journal. And I understand that because it's just like writer's block. Anyone who is a journalist and you're trying to write your script for the package you're putting together, anybody who is an author, anyone who has directed and produced movies, they've written the movies, they've written the books. It doesn't just flow out of them. Like they stop and start and they get creative and they write and then they have a mental block. It's the same thing with journaling. Understand that when I do my retreats, I don't expect you to write. But if you have it in your heart and soul and your mind, put it down. Let's go at it. Don't stop if it's still in you. Like you have those creative juices, then keep writing. It doesn't matter how long. You could fill pages and pages. And then the very next day, nothing, right? Writer's block. And you're like, well, how come yesterday I had so much in my heart and my mind? Because you felt it. You were alive. I want you to feel more alive. I want you to every day have this inspiration inside of you that either you ignite in yourself or that someone around you, family, friends, people, lift you up. So today, in just a few minutes, we're going to get into the topic. We're going to get deep into relationships. Now, we've talked about relationships in the past, but I'm adding more context to it. Today it is, what have you accepted in the past that didn't serve you, by the way, that you will never, and you swear you will never tolerate in this current relationship or any relationships moving forward. So again, I think a lot of people have been used to us coming on a little bit late, so we see the numbers coming up now. I'm doing everything I can on the days on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for get on right away. In fact, it was like 6:59 and I was ready to go. In the studio, we're still working through some things, but I promise you, that 7 a.m. is what I am looking for. So it was a flawless show over and over and over again. That you're ready to go at 7, we're going to go all the way up till 8. I'm here for you for an hour. That is my promise to you, and I'm asking you to do the same, right? Sunday mornings, what do you do? For those of you that go to church, you get to church hopefully on time. If not, no one's docking you pay because you got there 5-7 minutes late, but you missed some of the message. So I'm asking you to set that alarm. No, maybe 10 minutes before. No, hey, that podcast that I love, that show is coming on, and I'm going to grab what I need to. I'm going to grab my pen and paper. If I'm going off to work, I know that I have to listen to it in that day when I get home. I don't want you to bypass it, because here's what happens. You'll say, oh, I'll go back to that. I've asked a handful of friends, did you see this show on blah, blah, blah? Oh my gosh, I forgot. I got to go back. Even my friend Todd, who you hopefully had a chance to see last week, he actually didn't get a chance to listen to the show, watch the show until yesterday. He was in it and he didn't get a chance to watch it. That one was recorded, by the way. Beautiful show that we did at the Ritz-Carlton in St. Louis. It just looked so gorgeous. Really, I mean, just the lighting, everything. George did such an amazing job with that. Sounded great, looked great. It was just, that was a flawless show. And he ridiculed himself and said, I probably could have had more energy. And I said, no, you were your authentic self. Don't try to put something on. And that's what I'll tell each and every one of you. There are days where you'll have crazy high energy. You're ready. You're ready to ignite and take on the world. And there's days that you feel a little melancholy. There's days where you're really depressed. There's days that you're so sad. Then there's days that you're so grateful. And it's like boom, 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 boom. Remember the old, for those of you that are older, remember the Atari game? Ding, pong, pong, pong. That's life. Right? Then Nintendo came around and we felt like we were great. And then the Xboxes and the kids all know about them. Whatever else is out there. Technology, we talked about the other day. Beautiful thing. But I also want you to slow down in aspects of life. And you're not always going to be at the top of that roller coaster. And be ready to put your hands up and your feet out and just exhale and just be so excited because the drop happens. And when the drop happens, you want to find, how do you pick yourself back up? Well, those drops happen in relationships, right? Relationships. So I want you to think of anyone that's struggling. In fact, I had a girl that reached out to me and she wrote me yesterday and she said her mother told her that she needed to watch this show and listen to this show. And her comment was, actually, let me see if I can read this to you. Her comment was, I think it was something on the lines, I thought, what do I have to lose? So I started looking at her profile, never interacted with this young girl before, and thought, well, I hope that you understand that there are past shows. Oh, here we go. I won't say her name. Hi, my mom told me I should check out your podcast and see if I can learn more about how to heal and move forward with my life. I know it's a long shot, but I just figured I'd take it because I literally have nothing to lose. Boy, I do hope that she grabs onto this and that she sees herself in this, and that goes for all of you. Jamie, Renee, how are you? Renee, by the way, is behind Cope24. I want you to look into this incredible organization. I invited Renee on my show, and we're just going to work out what date she's ready to come on. We'll talk about her. We'll talk about their upcoming gala or gala, whatever you want to say, that is going to come up in the fall. I'm actually emceeing that. I'm proud to be collaborating with Renee. She's wonderful. Good for you taking a nap. You've been nonstop. That makes her happy. All right, Michelle, you're right. Jamie, Pamela, Donna, good morning. Pam Brandt. You inspire me. So glad you're doing this podcast. Well, I'm glad I'm doing it for you as well. And Janet, I watch the old ones. There are some things that I miss. Yes, that you miss, or that at that very given time in your life, it wasn't a message you needed to hear. Understand that, right? There's a reason why there are books that we go back to on our shelves as a resource book. You set it down on your bookshelf and then you go, oh, wow, that book really changed my life. I'm going to grab that. I need to read that again. I always tell you that I love the 4 agreements. Why? Because it's agreements that you make with yourself, or that you're trying to teach your children, or maybe you try to help out with someone that's struggling and say, look, if you can make these agreements with yourself to always do your best, to be impeccable with your word, to never assume and to not take things personally. Those are the 4 agreements. And it may seem so simple, but it's not when you realize that somehow you dip into all of those, that you do assume. Women are notorious for it, right? They assume that there's a girl that's judging them, or they take it personally that you give power to someone currently or in the past. And those are things that I want you to start releasing. Okay. So I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want you to start interacting with me, and I want you to tell me. In fact, you can start writing some of the comments and I'll immediately go to them when we come back. I want you to think about, what have you allowed? And this is how you break the patterns, by the way. What have you allowed in any relationship? And understand, this show affects each and every one of you, from a young kid to your grandma and grandpa, right to the seniors. It runs the gamut of generations. So I want you to get your kids. Maybe you text them and say, what have you allowed in friendships in school? Like, are they allowing people to bully them? Do they allow people to have power over them? Was there abuse from the past that you took and took and took? You stayed in the relationship? I've talked to a lot of women in my 30 years, and men as well, I should say, that have stayed in a relationship. They've allowed it to repeat. In fact, I was watching Respect last night, the Aretha Franklin movie. I was so drawn to it again. I mean, I've seen it over and over again. I love it. First of all, Jennifer is just incredible in that movie. Jennifer Hudson is just a beautiful singer, portrays that role so well. But you think about Aretha Franklin and the abuse, if you've seen the movie, that she puts up with. She leaves the relationship. She goes back to the relationship as if you think it's going to change. No. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're in an abusive relationship, please get out of it. Find your way out of it. Now, I'm not just talking about abuse. I'm talking about trauma. I'm talking about alcohol addiction that maybe you're drawn into. An alcoholic, and then suddenly you don't want them to do it, but then you get pulled into it. I'm talking about someone that has stepped out on you, okay, has cheated on you, and you allow the cheating to happen. Someone who's actually physically hit you. Someone who doesn't put you first, doesn't see your worth or your value. There's so many things that you've allowed. You heard the girls hopefully about 30, 40 minutes ago, and they weighed in and said what they felt. If you didn't hear that, I'll tell you, I'll give you some of those, and you can see yourself in those comments. As I said, sometimes it just takes somebody to have the guts to start. I allowed this. This is how you're going to fill in the blanks. Do this for me. I allowed this in the past that I will never allow in the future. What is that? Fill in those blanks, okay? We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. It's time to interact with you. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online envitahealthandwellness.com.
Carroll House is now the contemporary furniture design center.
We now have the largest selection of the latest ultra-modern furniture.
Sleek European designs, unique metals, bold lacquers, plush fabrics, and retro styles.
Modern furnishings with exclusive collections only at Carroll House.
Plus free financing, free delivery and setup, and free in-home design.
Visit the St. Louis Center for Contemporary Design inside our 3.5-acre showrooms at Carroll House.
Because you like nice things.
Warm weather, sand beaches, and boats galore. It's not Florida, it's a Lake of the Ozarks. Florida Direct Palm Trees brings tropical flair to your patios, docks, and yards. From a few feet all the way to 25 feet, there are palm trees for every property. Florida Direct also provides palm tree potting soil, palm fertilizer, large decorative pots, and a wide selection of locally grown tropical flowers and plants to add the perfect accent to your tropical paradise. Florida Direct Palm Trees, bringing paradise to your patio for 14 plus years.
You know, of course, it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather, but when it's time to relax indoors, be sure your home stays cool with equipment and service from my friends at Aldon. 24-hour emergency service available. At Aldon, it's their commitment to continue providing above and beyond HVAC service for all of their customers. They truly care about the air you breathe. Call them today at 314-567-5585 or on the web, aldon.com. That's al-don.com, 314-567-5585. All right, welcome back. It's a Wednesday. That means it's Mobile Monica time, the Real Monica Adams podcast, brought to you by our friends at Invita Health and Wellness. It's time to get into the topic of the day, relationships. All right, all of you, whether you're a young kid, whether you're a teenager, whether you're in college, because what I'm finding is younger and younger are finding this podcast, right? Because this is really the way they kind of take life right now. They love podcasts. And I do want to let you know that we will be dropping a new podcast tomorrow on the iHeartRadio platform, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your audio podcast. Tomorrow's will be about paying it forward. If you missed that show, or you have friends who are not on Facebook or they don't go onto YouTube, that will be the audio version for them tomorrow morning. It will drop. So be looking for that. Go ahead and just start following The Real Monica Adams on, again, wherever you get your podcast. The bigger ones are, again, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Okay, that's tomorrow. And we'll also be dropping a show tomorrow afternoon. I'm going to start doing one at a time on Thursday afternoons. We'll drop a new show for those who missed our last few months, because we started this on March 1st. But for the last few months, we've had incredible content. And if you missed any of it, it's okay. We're going to put it on YouTube. And Michelle was telling me that if you have subscribed in the past and you're not getting notifications when I drop a new episode, that you might need to unsubscribe and subscribe. Evidently, they started some new things on YouTube and it's messing things up, because, yeah, you should get a notification. For people you follow on YouTube, you should get a notification right away that they have a new show for you. So, okay, Facebook, YouTube, audio podcast platforms. We're here to take over the world. We're here to change the world together. So let me give you the 4 that the ladies talked about and see if you sound like this is who you were. Well, Mary had said, only communicate when they need something. And she put up with that in the past, right? Oh, they're only going to talk to you when they want something, need something. Again, she didn't say whether it was a romantic relationship or if it was a parent or if it was a sibling, if it was a friend, because you see yourself in all of these things. So that's a good one. Does anyone else agree with Mary on that one? Or Becky said being used in the past, and she never will allow herself to be used again. You have to stay strong, by the way. Think about this. When we're talking about relationships, you have to stay very strong, be very true to yourself to say, nope, nope, nope. I'm starting to see things from the past. It looks very familiar to me, and I'm not going to let this happen again. That was Becky's. Flying off the handle, Tammy said, so maybe watching what you say before you fly off the handle. So you learn from past mistakes. And so whether that was her or whether that was someone that she was involved with, she is trying to learn from that, right? So calm down. And you've probably heard before that before you go off and you send off that email, or you used to be send off a letter, or you call someone or you text someone, that you sit with it for a second, read it over again. Do you really want to send that? Or are you flying off the handle? And then Anne had said being taken advantage of. Okay, so those are 4 good ones for you to elaborate on. Does that sound like something that you've been through? Do you agree with these ladies? If so, just say yes to, again, only communicating when you need something. That was Mary. She say, yes, I agree with Mary. Or being used. Yes, I agree with Becky. Or flying off the handle. That has to do with what Tammy felt, communicating and then taking advantage of. That was Anne's. Are those things that you see yourself in? Let's see. Michelle. Okay, so Michelle put up COPE 24, changing our parenting experience. Actually, Michelle, if you can look into the link for Renee, that would be great. We can put the link up so people can find out more. Speaking of that, it has to do with parenting. A lot of bad parenting and being educated more, and just the abuse that happens in that. What do you really know about a relationship that is full of cheats compared with the one that's full of honesty and love? This is Archer Carlos. I think Archer might be new to us. How many kids do you plan in having in life? What's the feelings that you have for kids? What do you really know about love? Do you believe that love exists in this life? Are those all separate topics you want me to cover, Arter? I don't know. There's a lot of things there. All I need in a woman is care, trust, understanding, sincerity, faithfulness, and respect in others for us to spend the rest of our lives together and happily. All right. So that kind of pulls it all together. Absolutely. Arter, have you been through some rough times with relationships in the past where someone took advantage of you? I think the thing is, yes, it's very important to talk about. One of the things that you say, how many kids do you plan on having in life? There are people who get involved in their relationships, never have that deep discussion, and find out that they're definitely on different pages. Let's see, relationships full of cheats compared with the ones that's full of honesty and love. Right. So did you allow cheating in the past? If so, you have to right now break that cycle. If someone is currently cheating on you, they're not going to change. I don't care how many times you want to tell me, oh, but they will. No, they won't. You know that phrase, once a cheater, always a cheater. I abhor cheating. Absolutely abhor cheating. I don't get it. If you are someone who has cheated, why would you not have given them the decency to say, this is just not working any longer? I'm not feeling it. Or at least maybe try to go to counseling or try to have someone who really loves the two of you talk through it before you would go and cheat and affect not just that person's life, but I'm telling you, you will affect many layers of their life for that person to ever try to trust again. Okay? If you are the person who cheats, I'm asking you to listen to this comment one more time. Get out of the relationship before you ever cheat on them. You owe that to them, especially if they've put in years. And if you are married to them, have the decency to say this isn't working anymore for whatever reason, but get out of that. Dana says, yes, totally. I don't know which part, yes, totally. Okay, Kelly, to entertain narcissistic relationships. So you did that in the past, Kelly? Right? So people think about a narcissist. It's all about them. Everything, no matter what conversation. They're not good listeners, by the way, either. They are waiting for you to stop. They haven't listened to a word you said, and they're going to jump in. And, oh, yeah, I did that. Or the narcissist always one-ups you. Okay, think about those things. It is 7:26. Good morning to you. If you're just tuning in, welcome, by the way. Love having you. If you have to take this in little increments and then come back, that's fine. Come back, get into the car, start it back up again, and then come back to it. Any part that you missed. To the ladies' 4 comments, you agree with all of them? Wow, yeah. So that's a lot that you put up with, right, Dana? So when is it enough, though? Okay, so today's topic also has to do with how many times did you put up with the things that you're stressing that you would never put up with again? Be willing to interact with that aspect. How much do we have to go through and put up with before we finally get the ding, ding, ding? So I've said before that I think it always starts as a little whisper or it's a gut instinct. And then all of a sudden you say, wow, this doesn't feel right for me. Right? I think I need to change something because this doesn't feel like how I should be treated. If you feel that, pay attention to the whisper, pay attention to the gut instinct. Because then it becomes people around you saying, it's kind of like that movie I said, and I watched Respect. And it was the sisters actually saying, the father was with, if you haven't seen the movie, the father's with this woman, and Jennifer Hudson's character says, when do you think dad will get married? And they're like, oh, they're not even talking about that. And their relationship is the same as it was with mom. Well, she either put it out of her mind or was too young to remember it. The 2 sisters said, how can you not? They always screamed at each other. We used to have to go on top of the roof and sing at the top of our lungs to drown out the arguing, the bickering, the screaming, the degrading, the name calling. And she didn't remember that, or she suppressed it, right? She put it out of her mind. Kids go through it. And they say, I would never be in a relationship like my parents had. Okay, I watch things. I love my dad, but there are things. I mean, we're not perfect, right? We're imperfect human beings. I would have loved for my dad to have still been alive, so I could have sat down and talked with him about his demons, his past, his things that made him turn to this or that. Again, getting people to communicate a little bit better. But what I watched was, I won't get into a relationship where I see someone struggling and taking it out on others. I've seen that in a lot of friends' relationships. My own friends' relationships that I accepted. I'll give you this. I will never allow, again, myself to go through and get so stressed and so upset about someone who just ghosts and disappears. A person who's super, super close to you. Understand that what I learned was Well, my gosh, if they're so easily going to throw your relationship away, that they didn't care about you very much in the first place. Because you don't just go away from someone without having some type of a sit down. Do you agree with that? Do you all agree that you would at least, if you really love someone, you would sit down and talk with them? You would at least say, if you have respect for yourself and for them, look, here's what's going wrong in the relationship. Here's what kind of hurt my feelings. Okay, let's talk about it. You have to have that communication. Do you all agree with that? It's not so easy to just go away, just disappear, which is what this younger generation calls ghosting. And this allows them to do just that. You can either never respond to a text, never pick up the phone anymore, or you can use this as a cop-out and text. Yeah, it's just not working for me anymore. I'm not going to have the decency, even though there's months and years involved in this relationship, I'm not going to have the decency to pick up the phone. I'm just going to text and say, not feeling it. Oh, good, moved on. That's, okay, first of all, that is such a cop-out and a coward. There's no other way to put it. If you have done that, I'm asking you to break that. So I'm going to give you some things you may have to think about. Maybe you're the one that needs to change in your future relationships, that you don't do that to somebody else. Have you been cowardly and just copped out? And look, the more someone actually says, yep, that's me, Monica, you're calling me out and I need to change. I think that really helps to affect the community, because other people would be like, wow, you had the strength to say it's you. I'm just trying to see how authentic and real people really can be. I've given you my faults. I've given you my highs. I've given you my lows. That helps you along. No one's perfect. I'm not ever going to come on here and say, oh yeah, everything I do is great and I have no problems and all these blessings. Nope, I'll tell you, like, I've done this or I've done this. The more we share those things, the better. I've been there. There's a very past very good friend, and I actually they talked about this to the ladies this morning. One of them actually knows the story, and I said, look, there was someone who I swear was one of my best friends, went on vacation with us, was around us all the time, and then disappeared. And to this day, June 28th, 2023, I never know what the reason was. How, after, I don't know if it was a decade we were friends or what, very good friends, enough for me to say that I want you in our wedding to stand by me, and you disappear. That doesn't make any sense. And then never give a reason. My husband doesn't know the reason. My friends, my family, my parents, my mother, I guess I should say, my dad wasn't around, my family, they've asked in the past, did you ever get a reason? Nope. And guess what? I don't care. But I did for a while. I'm giving you my authentic self. I let it clench my jaw on a daily basis, trying to figure out, what did I do, or me and my husband do, or my family do, or what the heck happened? Then I realized I'm spending too much time on someone who doesn't put me in the weight of mattering. And then my whole path opened up. This is what I'm trying to make you understand. There are many people who have cried in life coaching with me privately and on Thursday nights when we do the full community. They have cried and they've said, but Monica, it hurts. I get it. I've been there. It does. There's sleepless nights that I had, taking showers in the morning. All I thought about all day long was to try to fix the relationship, the friendship. How do I get her back? How do I get her back? What happened? I don't get it. And then suddenly the path opens up, the clarity comes. The real clarity came in the, oh my gosh, if you're so easily going to throw my friendship away, what in the world were you doing behind my back? That's what I really wonder. How much I held this person in this light, thinking they were so great, such an incredible friend to my husband, myself, my family. And then you get the aha moment of, oh my gosh, no. If you did this, then I bet you did a lot behind my back. I bet you were the instigator behind a lot of things. So when I'm talking about relationships today, I'm talking about friendships. I'm talking about my relationship with my husband. Every day we work on it, right? And people have asked, you two are so incredible together. I agree. We are meant to be together. But you want to know why it works? Because I have respect for him. He has respect for me. I hold him up. He holds me up. He is there for me to support. I'm there for him to support. I love him unconditionally. He loves me unconditionally. I respect him. I would never cheat on him. And the same applies. See, you have to work on these relationships. But he has been cheated on multiple times in the past. I may have been, I don't know. I think I had an inkling of possibility, but I did allow the bad boys to not treat me well. Okay, those were past relationships. I was always drawn to the bad boy. Aren't we all? To the very attractive, edgy bad boy. And then I started realizing, Monica, that's not going to serve you. So these are my experiences that I think you probably see yourself in. Okay, the guys that I did date that were the good ones always said, see, Monica, it's not going to work with us, is it? Because the good guys always finish last. And I said, it's not true, because it just, there's something that was missing. And, you know, look, we're right for someone, hopefully forever. You know, you think about the animals that mate for life. And I feel that's where Jim and I are now. But there's a ton of people I dated in the past, and for whatever reason it didn't work. It's okay. Don't put yourself down or put them down. You're not supposed to be together for life. But maybe you turn into friends. I have a lot of guys I dated, by the way, that are friends of mine. And people who say that girls and guys can't be friends, disagree. Completely disagree when you take the sex idea out of it. Everyone always thinks, oh, every guy wants to have sex with every girl. It is not true. It's such a stereotype. And they actually have asked me to put that out there. It's not true. It's not always on their mind, every single guy or girl for that matter. That's a stereotype. That is really lumping everybody together, which is a little ridiculous to think that everyone thinks that way. So let me go to some of yours. And by the way, thank you for tuning in, as it says here on the call. Feel free to comment and like and post and share. Thank you again for all of you that have been with us over the last 3 months, and the ones that are just finding us because other people are telling you to tune in. I have a neighbor that we keep having this fight about the property. Oh, I've seen these before. I agree. Let it wait. Write down and let heat of the moment cool down. Pam, I'm glad you said that. I think back when I was a younger girl and my dad and the neighbor next door, they then became good friends. And so if you think that you're never going to be friends with someone you fight with, that is not true. If you think you can't get past the argument in a relationship, it's not true. You want to have, and you hear the word or the phrase, cool heads prevail, right? Hot heads are just going to burst, and you just have hot head after hot head. It's never going to go anywhere. And they were both hot heads at the time. Arguing over what? The property line, and this little tree is mine. It was just so silly. It was like, this isn't what the fight's really about. What is the fight really about? And guess what? It ended. I came out. We were all like, oh my gosh, this person's fighting with this person. Here's how it ended. My dad, hey, Monica, go inside and get a beer for Mr. Whatever, right? And I'm like, I'm so confused. Because here we were looking at arguing. I'm like, hey, come out here. Dad's arguing with the neighbor. Or they said, the neighbor's arguing with Mr. Adams. And then it ended with, let's have beers, and now we're best friends. It's amazing, the turn of life, right? It'll always find its way out. Pam, thank you for reminding me of that. I've dealt with cheating. Okay, Dana, thank you for being real here. Verbal abuse, giving and doing way more than I should have to only be treated and talked to horribly. I won't tolerate that any longer. Amen, Dana. And I hope you stay true to that, because it's so easy for someone. It's so familiar, and sometimes you're drawn to familiar territory. But it's the aha light bulb when you start to say, oh, this is familiar territory I did not like. This is familiar territory that made me feel horrible about myself. This is territory I never want to walk down again, right? So you just have to remember those things. Remember the feelings. You lived it. You don't want to live that again. Sherry, I agree. Communication is key. I've been ghosted before and it doesn't feel good. Nope. Because you're sitting there wondering. Again, whether it's a friend or whether it's someone romantic, it's, wait a minute, what the heck happened? The decency is, as a human being, find your way to be a decent human being. Pick up the phone, or, better yet, I would prefer this, face to face. The communication, the energy together. I think people are scared because they think they're not strong enough to stand their ground and they're going to get talked back into a relationship. No, you got to find your voice. You got to find your strength within yourself. Barbara, ghosted by neighbor as soon as they moved away and didn't need me to take care of their home. See, that's what I think one of the girls was talking about earlier, that you communicate when you need something, only when you need something, then you disappear. Yep, same thing, Barbara. You're agreeing with Mary. To take care of their home when they frequently traveled. Never again. Blocked and unfriended. You know what? You're better off, Barbara. You don't need them, right? If that's the kind of person that they are, you do understand that, right? That you are so better off. Terry, I've had friends who have done the exact, not knowing why they just ghost. Your best friend's so hard to understand. I love your growth, Monica. Terry, you have it in yourself as well. You have it in yourself. You have the same growth. Why? Because you just spoke it out. You just put it out there to the public and a bunch of people who don't know you, and you're strong enough to say that you've been there. I want you to understand, see yourself in me. Yes, you and I have known each other for a long time. Terry and I went to college together, played ball together. Incredible soccer player, by the way. She was amazing. Maybe still is. I don't know if she still plays in any adult leagues. But I saw so much humor in her, and she gave so much to the world. And then, you split off and don't see each other after college, and you wonder what's happening with all these people. Like, did they get stronger in who they were, in their inner being, in their faith, in their communication skills, etc. So Terry, you've been there, but understand that you have the strength within you. You have an incredible husband by your side, your parents, who I loved, by the way, loved meeting them, children. Lean on all of them. Let them find you back to your path, right? The people who really know you are the ones that you have trusted enough that you give a lot to, and hopefully they give back. Watch that, by the way. Watch if you're giving so much and they don't give back to you. Maybe you should have that conversation of, gosh, I do give a lot here. Can you give a little bit more of yourself? Because the people who really love you will. I mean, I am very, very blessed with a core group of very good friends. And I heard somebody yesterday say, as I get older, my group of friends get, and I finished a sentence. I said, smaller, but stronger. Smaller, but stronger. I do have, some people say I could count on one hand the friends I have. I could probably count on 2 or more than 2 very good friends. And I do mean that. I am very, very blessed. But if I think of the heart and soul and the core, it's probably on 2. And I could probably say 7 or 8. And that's amazing. If you could teach your kids that, they don't need to be the popular one and have those people are not really their friend. They just here's the thing, and I think it's very, very key of what someone said, right? Somebody needed you to take care of your home while they lived next to you, and then they ghosted and they just disappeared, and then they unfriended and blocked, which makes no sense. It's the same thing for the young kids. If you're one of the popular kids, everybody wants to jump on your coattails, ride on your shoulders because you have the popularity. But if that slips at all, would they still be there for you? Nope. They're only caring about themselves. So there's a difference in this. When I say take care of yourself first and foremost and make you the number one person in the equation of your life, I do not mean to be narcissistic or to not care about others, and to be strong and to stand by that person, whether they're popular or whether they drop to the ground, because that's the true friend. When you climb the mountain together and you come tumbling down, you find your way back up the mountain. The strength in relationships. I just got the aha feeling about a friend, how they probably talked behind my back. Thanks. You're welcome. Yes, understand that. And I know we've talked about this in the past, actually, Tammy. I think you have seen yourself in some of these conversations. And you said, but it's hard and it makes me cry. And I think about why. But you're spending too much energy on someone who doesn't want you. You are not going to be everybody's cup of tea. You've heard that phrase before. And it's okay. Because guess what? And I'll say this right now. It doesn't matter the person's name that did this to me, but I'll tell you that there's an incredible woman who walked back in my life, and her name is Sherry Anderson, and she's still on. No, you got a hashtag know your value. Sherry's, change that, delete that. Not know your worth, know your value. Know your value is my mantra. Hashtag know your value. Sherry walked into my life about 5 years ago, and I will tell you right now that I bet you I wouldn't have even become friends with her if I didn't have a clear path, and if I would have been so muddled with thinking about the person who walked away. I wouldn't have seen her. She would have just cut my hair and I would have been on my way. And I would have seen her 4-6 weeks later and been on my way. And we would have had some similarities, but I bet you I wouldn't have found a way to friendship. When we open our minds, open our hearts, and open our souls, we see so much clearer of, oh my gosh, who cares about these people from the past that don't serve me anymore? But wow, look at this person waiting for me right here, right now. Live in the now. Let's go back here. Some good comments today. I love the interaction. Love you, Terry. You're amazing. And Monica was amazing at soccer. Thank you. Hugs, my friend. Thanks so much. Terry, I loved it. If I didn't have my blood clot, I think I probably still would have continued to play. I played for the Junior Olympics after college. Played at Mizzou as well. And then that's when the blood clot happened. But I'll tell you what, soccer was so much for me. Soccer and dancing taught me so much about life, about the socialization, the friendships that you make, the trust, the teamwork. Those are all things in friendships, right? So I do encourage you to get your kids involved in activities, after school activities. Let them play sports. Let them find their way, by the way. Don't push your sport on them. I see that too much also. It's just like the stage mom, right? The dance mom. It's the same thing in sports. Someone who didn't excel well in their own sport, they try to make their kid, here, play football. I don't want to play football, Dad. I want to play baseball. Play football, kid. Why are we pushing something? Let them find their way and then just guide them and help them along the way. Hi, Kyle. Good to see you. Always surround yourself with people who value you. Jamie Lynn, great comment. Dana, it took multiple relationships to finally get to that point and setting boundaries. I've also lost a close relationship with a cousin due to my ex-husband turning her against me. And sometimes I tell you, even in your family, you will lose your way. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes you have to literally step away and then find your way back or completely divorce someone who is blood. It's okay to do so, by the way. It is. She blocked me on social media and we are no longer a part of each other's lives. It's hurtful and sad, but I've gotten past it over the years. Dana, she's not meant to be in your life. If that person doesn't want you, there are tons of people who do. That's the other thing, by the way, in relationships, you shouldn't have to try so hard. You shouldn't have to make it happen. I learned that a long time ago, and I had to keep being told that from my mom and from others. Monica, he doesn't value you enough. Why do you think I came up with Know Your Value? He doesn't value your relationship if he's going to step out on you. He's not going to value your relationship if he is not calling back, right? So if we can only teach our younger selves this. Those are the bad boys that I was like, oh, no. And I would make excuses for them. Have you done that, by the way? Do you make excuses for other people? No. Trust me. It's this. They're doing it because of this reason. They'll be back. No, they won't. They're not going to change. They need growth. Sometimes maybe they get into some programs or they are separated and that's what they really should do. Instead of going relationship because if they're needy, they should really take time for themselves to work on themselves and grow before they finally come back as a whole person. And that could be you, by the way. You might need to do that. Don't feel like you have to be in a constant relationship, the need of a relationship before you really work on yourself. Now, Rose, didn't talk to my friend for 7 years after having been friends for 35 years. They finally came around and asked why. We talked it out. Misunderstanding. See, communication has to happen. Misunderstanding on both sides. I never knew. We were honest. Life is way too short for toxicity. We are friends again and love them more than ever. Not always happens. Big loves to you as well, Sherry. Thank you, Michelle. Know Your Value. I love you too, Sherry. Sometimes you just have to walk away when people are toxic and bring no value to your life, says Chrissy. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to go back to Rose's comment. See, isn't it amazing? And I've said this before. My husband disagrees. My husband and my brother, they have a tendency to hold grudges. And until that person comes back and says sorry, they're not going to let them back in. And I understand. You got to stay true to you. For me, I've actually said this person who left, if they came back and said, hey, we need to talk. It's been however many years. And I just want to say this is what happened. Oh my gosh, that's all we needed, right? Would I allow her back in? Yes. Some people say, why? No way. She turned on you. That's okay. What I said about 3-4 minutes ago was if someone grows, really works on themselves. Now, would I tread lightly? Yes. Would the trust come immediately? No, because I have worked on that. My husband said I always trusted the world. Monica, you trust everybody will fault. And I said, I don't know if it's to a fault. It's the kindness in me that I do see the best in human beings. I see the best in everyone until they show me a side of themselves that I think, well, they're not a very good human being. So at the end of my show, what do I always say? In a world where you can be anything, I'm asking you to, first of all, be kind. Find your way to kindness. Actually, be kind to yourself first and foremost. Stop the cheating. Stop being the person who's ghosting. Stop having so much hate and drama and toxicity. Work on yourself. Stay out of relationships. You don't belong in a relationship if you haven't worked on yourself. I wish I could say this to someone who's very, very close to me and get him to realize it's okay to get out of a relationship. I don't care if you've given 15 years to a relationship. You shouldn't stay in it. Or maybe you need to take some time apart. You don't have to necessarily break up, but maybe you work on yourself and they work on themselves. And then you come back together and you're better versions of each other, which makes the relationship better. Someone just said they went through the misunderstandings and they love them even more today. Yes, that's what happens. You know the story. I tried connecting with my father my entire life. I finally had to cut him out. Heartbreaking, but I finally found peace in doing so. Michelle, thank you for putting that out there for the world. I do know that story. And it's hard because that's blood, right? She just gave me a chill. That's blood. That is the deepest blood you can have. The parental children, that connection, or siblings, right? You wouldn't think of, how do I never talk to my brother or sister anymore? How do I just break it off and I never want to see them anymore? You don't want that. But if they're not serving you, well, maybe you have to find your way to that. And she did. Hashtag be kind and be kind to yourself. Very good. So today, I hope you heard through me, through what I've been reading from others, something in yourself. that you think, wow, what Rose talked about, what Sherry talked about, what Chrissy talked about, Michelle talked about, Dana, you Jamie, you name it. These people are complete strangers to you, or you have found your way to each other through this community. You recognize some of the names that have been on over the last several months. And maybe even reach out to each other. I think some people have friend requested each other, and maybe you find yourself to an incredible friendship because you think, if you're listening to Monica's show, then we already have something in common. We want more for ourselves and for our community, for our families, for our friends. So you already have that in common. You're a good, hopefully, good, kind human being. I have said this, though. Don't just share that this podcast is out there for your greatest supporters and your best friends. Somebody laughed the other day when I said, send this to your enemies. And I mean that. Why do I say that? Why do you think I say, send this to your enemies? Send this to the people who are drama filled. Send this to the people who are toxic. Send this to the jealous people. Send this to the insecure people. Send this to the cheaters, the haters. Why do I say that? What would be your answer? I'm going to give you just a minute or so. Why would I tell you to do that? Why would I tell you to turn them on to this show, this podcast? Why would I say that? Let's see what your answers are. And then I'll tell you what mine is. But I do want you to share it with all those. That's it, Terry. So they can hear the message, they can receive the message, and hopefully they can start working on themselves and become the version of themselves that they hope to be. It's going to take a little while. They're going to have to try to walk this path that you've all been walking. It's not going to be the easiest thing for them because it's unknown territory, unfamiliar territory. Or maybe actually it's territory that they might remember from the past. Wow, this is who I used to be. How in the heck do I find my way back to that? So yes, Terry, that is exactly why I would want you to do that. I want you to share with everyone. Kind, hate-filled. Generous, stingy. Right? There's two sides to everything. I want you to do that. Or they might still be following you, right? So I always say, hashtag let them watch. The haters, the jealous, the insecure, the people who have ghosted you. They're probably still on the page if you haven't blocked them. I don't block people because I want to let them watch. Right? Whatever there are people actually, this particular person that decided to walk away. I did block that person. I would probably put them back on the page. We probably both blocked each other, but I would probably put people from the past that I blocked and say, go ahead. See that I forgive. Because if we can't find our way to forgiveness, then I think you're forever blocked and you're not really growing. You don't have true growth. I mentioned this in my private life coaching last weekend. Get out of your own way. I keep saying that to people. Get out of your own way. Find your own path of clarity, right? Sometimes it's you. You're in your own way. And it's you that's holding you back. So today when I'm talking about growth in relationships, it's every aspect of a relationship. It's your relationship with yourself first and foremost, though. Think about that. Who are you? Do you love yourself? I'm going to use this bottle from friends of mine. I haven't talked about them in a while. I'm still hoping to get them on my show. But this Vital water bottle says that you're vital to the world and that today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Okay? So today is your opportunity to start thinking about the relationships that are doing good for you and the ones that are not serving you any longer. And Rick and Stacy started this company to try to tell people that they're vital to the world. You're vital first and foremost. But how do you receive yourself? Okay, so when I talk about relationships, this is actually how I'm going to end before I read from Jeff Kozatek's Blueprint for Value. How is your relationship with yourself? Because we haven't even talked about that yet. And in these final few minutes, as you write in your journal today, and we gave you some opportunities to kickstart the thought process. How is your relationship with you? What do you think of yourself? How kind are you to yourself? What do you do for yourself? Self-care. What do you do for you? Or do you always do for everyone else? I want you to think about that. So in your journaling, I want you to really fill in that blank. Maybe you share in the future, or you join a Thursday night class. Some people ask, how do you join that? Well, you can just reach out to me. I'm going to give you my email here. So this is whether you'd like to become a sponsor of the podcast or you want to be on the show. You reach out to this email address, and I want you to ask me about the services. So again, the way you can share what we're talking about today and come back to this, whatever you worked on with yourself, the relationship you have with yourself, the kindness that you have with yourself. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
So the relationship you have with yourself, first and foremost, is what matters. So how much do you love you? If you say, I don't like myself, well, then get out of the relationship, because you got to work on yourself first before that person in the relationship can like, let alone love you. And I mean this. The reason why your relationship isn't working many times is you. You're in your own way. And it's okay to get out of something. Or it's okay to tell the person, hey, I'm not breaking up. And if you really still love them, you just say, I know I'm better than this. I just need to take a little step back here. I'm hoping that you will give me some time, and maybe even give a little bit of a timeline. Maybe you ask for a couple weeks or a month and say, trust me that when I return, that this relationship will be better because I worked on myself. Okay? You probably didn't see that one coming, but sometimes it's you. Maybe you're blaming everybody else, and it's actually you that you have to work on first of all. Okay? Let's see. So they can hear the message, Terry says. Yes, that was the answer, right? Sometimes you have to block people if they are hateful and narcissistic for your own sanity. Terry said lost. Share the love. Yes. So share the love. So as we wrap up, I'm going to read from the Blueprint for Value, and I want you to share this podcast. This is another one I have so many that I think are my favorites, and I think today was a very powerful one. I think you saw yourself in a lot of the comments that people said. Maybe you didn't speak up, and that's okay. You haven't found your voice yet. It takes a lot to find your voice. It is scary for people to put it out there to people that they don't know. Oh, they might see my name and they might go back, and maybe somebody links us. Remember what I said about the 4 agreements? Why do you care about what everybody else thinks? Stop assuming, and don't give power to those people. Be your best self and be impeccable with your word. Those agreements have so much to do with the kindness for yourself and your relationships. Okay. So Blueprint for Value, we are on, did we do awareness? Let me think. We did dreams and purpose. No, we did awareness already. So we're on number 5. Know the enemy. No an unknown fear can stop you. Whether you're aware of them or not, fear and distraction can diminish your personal worth account. They can be blind spots that carry enormous weight and dramatically affect the course of your life. It's easy to pick up fear from your life influencers, environment, and media, only to unwillingly adopt them as your own. Similarly, distractions can pop up and grab your attention. Suddenly you're playing a whack-a-mole game that steals your time and energy. Take time to understand your fears. Listen to those fears carefully and respond to them with the truth. Naming your enemy, as I just asked. Maybe you're your own enemy. Your worries, your distractions, your doubts gives you the opportunity to engage, respond, and then grow instead of losing ground and depleting your personal worth account. So the takeaway from today, doubts, distractions, fears can act like an invisible chain, keeping you from your dreams. Take stock of any that might be holding you back and destroy them with truth. So that's 5 of 52 habits to discover and strengthen your personal worth. And when I do the Mobile Monica, I like to pick from these books, and then I'm going to do the 100 Days to Freedom when I'm in the studio. So that's kind of how we're separating things up. So Leah, without even thinking, come here. I'm going to introduce you to Leah. She's been on with me before. So Leah, we're talking today about things we've allowed in the past in relationships that we will never allow again in the future. What would your answer be?
Boundaries.
We've talked a lot about people being used, ghosting. That's disrespect, right?
Right.
Right? That's what I'm saying. So we all as a community can feel a part of this with each other. But the strength of this is to see those things happening,
right,
and to stop it.
Yep. And what we talked about, I think, like everything you go through, the worst thing you go through is what you learn from.
Yes. And that's how you build your strength.
Right.
Look at how she glows. That's because she's beautiful. And she does great skin. I need to get back into it.
I know.
Self-care. All right. So that's how we're going to wrap up today, everybody. I want you, let's see, somewhat lost, need to work on myself. Terry, absolutely. Terry, I'd love for you to join a Thursday night, by the way. And that's for each and every one of you. Thursday nights, you could drop in just one time, try it out. It's a community where other people, like Leah jumped in and all of you have been saying, right? You suddenly realize that someone says something that you're feeling and you get that aha, and it's the community that builds together and you say, gosh, I feel so much better that I'm not alone in this. So Thursday nights, 5 p.m. on Zoom. However, I am wanting to take those in person. I've talked about wanting to do those in person, and we have that opportunity in Brentwood. I've got a room of about 25 that we could start with, and maybe we do that once a month where it's in person, and then maybe once a quarter we go to 50. And then maybe a couple times a year, we use 75 to 250. We have those opportunities there. I've got some other meetings that I'm having that could get us in a room of 300, and we do a full-blown seminar. That's what we're discussing, some big things. Whoa. Oh, I've got a big comment here. All right, let's not wrap up just yet. Good morning, Laura. You're going to have to go back because we're almost wrapping up. Go back and make sure you watch this show. Terry, I hope I see you tomorrow night. Any of you that want to join right now, there you go. There's my email address, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. You can ask me about Thursday night class. You can ask me about personal training. You can ask me about private life coaching. Allison, let me pass this along. Allison just wrote something pretty big here. Allison said, I'm sitting here at this very moment with my narcissist trying so hard to pull me back into a cycle of devaluing, calling me all that he is and thinking he is entitled to say and do whatever he wants to me, wanting me to cry and be hurt over. He has made me out to be in his reached addiction, pathological woman, beating, cheating, lying, double life living on everyone's couch who will have him, hating me for the boundaries I dare him to cross, as my light is so much brighter than any darkness he will ever cast upon my soul, not being able to make me the person who shows him the scars he made on me, burning me in rage because of his infidelity and incapability to deal with his own life, never being happy or content in any form. It's been a roller coaster ride. See, I talked about that a half hour ago for sure. And out of all of his darkness, I will shine like a diamond, rising above the trauma, bonding, being happy. I now control my own feelings. Thanks to Robert James, don't know, on Instagram, who exposed his actions and helped me bring out and prove in court. Wow, this is a lot. Okay, there's a lot to that. Allison, I'm going to pray for you. Good morning. I will watch the replay from today. Have a beautiful day, Amy. Michelle, so sorry you had to go through that. There's my mom. Oh, see, so there's always a community that's there for you. Good morning. There's always a community that's out there for you. And so for everybody that's going through a lot, I'm asking you to understand that there is a positive light that's waiting for you. Okay, don't give up. But as I had mentioned before, first and foremost, you might need to start working on yourself before you can have the relationship that you really want. Any form of a relationship, any form, parental, sibling, romantic, friendship, business relationship. Think about all the things we talked about today. I hope you got some good tools, and I hope you can see the light out of this darkness, as I told you, each and every time. Thank you for the blessings you bestow upon me. Thank you for joining in. We will be live from the house tomorrow, and then on Friday. And yeah, let me look real quick. We had some topics. This was a good one today, by the way. Topics that have come in. So shoot me a message on here. I'll look at the comments later, or an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Let me know what topics you would like for me to discuss. Let's talk about nutrition. We've had a couple things that people want to talk about. Over-salting, over-seasoning, and healthy yogurt options. I'm just going to talk about some good food options, period, for those of you that are having trouble overeating or making poor choices. Let's just talk about poor choices. How about that? Tomorrow, poor choices in life, and that can kind of run the gamut, not just in nutrition, but just overall poor choices. Okay? Go out. Have an incredible day today. Get out into the world. Remember, hydrate, good nutrition, move, get out in nature, and in a world where you can be anything, finish the blank. Just be kind. Have a good day.